Hello viewers, we are doing fractional equations today and it looks very complicated. We'll start with the identification. Number one, we've got an equal sign. Then I taught you to go and look at your operations, which are negative, meaning we've got terms, okay, and when we have fractions in terms, then I taught you to change the surnames to humans. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should watch my videos on common fractions and the operations thereof. This one is specifically plus and minus of common fractions. Now the rules for common fractions and for algebraic fractions are exactly the same. So we need to change the different surnames to humans. I will be doing this in color. Now, as soon as we have two terms in the numerator or denominator, we put that into bracket. So this bracket is x plus 3. If you go a little bit further, you see that you've got another x plus 3. So I put that in the same color. Then this, okay, let me just make this a fraction, so it goes over 1. It does not need to go into brackets. And then we've got an x minus 2, and you will see that here you've got an x minus 2. Okay, then I taught you that the humans is always the lowest common multiple. And the lowest common multiple in algebra, I also told you, is just simply multiplying all denominators, but we never repeat anything. So when you now look at your denominators, the surnames, you've got a red bracket, okay? You've got a 1, which is anyway the lowest common multiple, and then you've got a purple bracket, so that is the purple bracket. Now we've got another red bracket, and because we don't repeat, your lowest common multiple will not have 2 red brackets, it will have only 1. And we've got another purple bracket, and again, because we don't repeat anything, we will have only 1 purple bracket and not 2. So my lowest common multiple is my red bracket, which is x plus 3, and my purple bracket, which is x minus 2. And we just simply multiply them. So that's my lowest common multiple. Now the next step is to multiply each fraction, each term, people, okay, by the lowest common multiple. So I will now rewrite this. I will first do that bracket. We've got 3 over x plus 3, which is the red bracket. Do you agree? Then I must multiply that by the lowest common multiple. So I will now multiply my numerator by the red bracket as well as the purple bracket. Okay, the red bracket is x plus 3 and the purple bracket is x minus 2, and just lengthen your line. Then we get to the second term. Then we have minus 1 over 1, and we will multiply that by the red bracket and by the purple bracket. And again, the red is x plus 3 and the purple is x minus 2. Then comes the equal sign. Use your next term, which is 2x over x minus 2, which is the purple bracket. That you must multiply by the lowest common multiple. So we're going to multiply by the red bracket and then by the purple bracket. The red bracket is x plus 3, and the purple bracket is x minus 2, and lengthen your line. Then comes the minus. Okay, rewrite what you have. 5 over x plus 2, and the denominator is x plus 3 and x minus 2, which is your purple bracket and your red bracket. And that we must multiply by the red bracket. And let me just erase this. And the purple bracket. So again, the red bracket is x plus 3 and the purple bracket is x plus 2. I'm sorry, it's squeezed in a little bit. Okay, now again people do term by term. Now if you look at your first term, then you can see you've got a red bracket divided by a red bracket. And when we divide something by itself, people, it always gives me a remainder of 1. So I can cancel that. Now I will have left over in the numerator 3 times x minus 2. And here is something really, really important. We want to get rid of the denominator. Okay? Important. When we have fractional equations, you want to get rid of the denominator. And that we do, people, by multiplying with the lowest common multiple. So this rule makes us get rid of the denominator. And if we get rid of the denominator, we have no more fractions. Okay, then we can go on and calculate normally. So what is left over here is 3 times the purple bracket. And I will now immediately go on and multiply out the bracket. Okay, so 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Then I am done with the first fraction. Now comes the second fraction. There is nothing that I can cancel. Okay, so what remains is the 1 times the bracket, which we don't do because it remains. But now, importantly, we're going to multiply the bracket by the bracket. Now, remember, this is negative. So that becomes, the x becomes a negative. We swap the signs, and the 3 becomes a negative. Okay, because we've got a negative sign in front of the fraction. So now I can simply multiply. Negative x times positive x is negative x squared. Negative x times negative 2 is positive 2x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. Which now has my second fraction, people, changed into whole numbers. I do not have a denominator anymore. I got rid of my denominator. Which then brings me to the equal sign. Take it down. And then the next term. So again, if you look at this next term, then you can see I've got a purple bracket divided by a purple bracket, which cancels. It gives me a remainder of 1. So then I have 2x times the red bracket left over. I will immediately calculate that. So 2x times x is 2x squared, and 2x times 3 is 6x. So I have now got rid of my denominator because it's over 1, people, which we just simply don't write. Then take down, no, sorry, we are not going to take down the minus, because firstly we have to calculate this. So again, you can see that I've got a red bracket divided by a red bracket, which I can cancel. I've got a purple bracket divided by a purple bracket, which I can cancel. So what remains is the negative 5 times the bracket. Okay, so we're going to calculate negative 5 times x is negative 5x, and then negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. and my denominator is 1, which I'm not going to write. That means I got rid of the denominator. So I repeat. When you multiply each term by the lowest common multiple, you should be able to cancel your denominators so that you have a 1 remaining, which means you got rid of your denominator. And if you now look at this whole thing, you can see that we've got whole numbers left and we do not have any fractions anymore. So we got rid of the fractions. So now what do? We're going to collect like terms. Okay, we've got 3x plus 2x is 5x minus 3x is 2x. Okay. Then I have negative 6 plus 6 people, that is 0. And then I still have negative x squared left over. So that's collecting like terms, adding kudus and donkeys as I taught you. Then we have the equal sign. On the right hand side, we will do the same. Here we've got 2x squared. There is no more x squared, so we're going to leave that. Then we have 6x minus 5x, which gives me x. Okay, and then we still got negative or minus 10 left, so this is minus 10. Now we have simplified the left hand side and the right hand side. Now remember, we want to solve this, which means we are going to put or make one of the sides equal to 0. So that is very important that we can factorize, which means we are now going to take the terms of the left hand side to the right hand side to the left hand side. It doesn't matter which one. So if you now take the 2x squared over, it's positive on this side, so it becomes negative on that side. So let me collect like terms again. Negative x squared minus 2x squared gives me negative 3x squared. Okay, then I also take the plus x over, which becomes minus x. Then I have 2x minus x, which gives me x. And at the same time, I will go or the negative 10, which becomes positive 10. There is no number on this side, so I do not need to add anything. That becomes positive 10. Now on the right hand side, people, I have moved this, I have moved this, and I have moved this, which means I now got 0 left over. I want you to look at what you have now. You've got a normal quadratic trinomial. Okay. The big but is that this is a negative. So I don't like to work with a negative x squared. So I will change it around by multiplying the whole equation with negative 1. So negative 3x squared times negative 1 is 3x squared. Then x times negative 1 gives me minus x. Okay. And then 10 times negative 1 gives me minus 10, and 0 times negative 1 gives me 0. Now I've got my term, x squared term, in positive. Okay, and that's what I like. Now remember, you must recognize this as a quadratic trinomial, which we have the general formula, ax squared plus or minus bx plus or minus c. Okay, and now we are where we actually can solve a quadratic trinomial. So people, you can do that by changing your terms into factors. you have learned different methods. You can take out the highest common factor, which in this case is not possible. You can complete the square, you can use the quadratic formula, or you can just simply, in this case, factorize the quadratic trinomial, which is either A1, A2, B1, or B2. Now, because this is negative, it's a B, okay? Because my B is also negative, this is B1. Just as a reminder, people. So B1 is negative, negative, and therefore my brackets, one will be positive and one will be negative. Once again, if you cannot remember this, please watch the videos on solving quadratic equations, okay? Now I'm going to just simply factorize. So I will not show how to do that one. I will just write in my answer. My answer will be 3x plus 5, the one bracket, and the other one will be x minus 2, which equals 0. Okay, now counts the principle of A times B equals 0, and we learned that either A or B must be there 0. Therefore, we say either 3x plus 5 equals 0, or, importantly, x minus 2 equals 0. And now we have a simple linear equation. So we're going to solve x. We're going to find x by doing Goro is o. Okay, so taking the 5 over becomes negative 5. So 3x equals negative 5. And then we take the 3 away. It's multiplied here, so we must divide it there. So x becomes negative 5/3. Or, in this case, we need to take the 2 over. It is negative. It becomes positive. So then we've got x left over equals, on the right-hand side, 2. This gives me 2 possible answers, and I have now solved the fractional equation. Remember, your aim is to find a value for x, okay? And you could actually do your check by substituting the negative 5/3 into all the places of x, and then calculate if your left-hand side equals the right-hand side, and the same you would then do with the 2. Okay, you will see, people, that in your textbook, it is done slightly differently. I want you to rather follow this method where you multiply each term by the lowest common multiple so that you can get rid of the denominator.